This video is for educational purposes only. Now you think about Excalibur, exercise calisthenics, burr it's cold out, creating lactic acid that removes dead muscle fiber and plaque from my muscles when I exercise a lot. And combining those with ketones that oxidize into acetate and jumping in cold water. And how a repetitive sequence of that will wash away the foundation that is the plaque and protein that leads to Alzheimer's, dementia, and all kinds of other neurological conditions. Right? When you watch a wave on a beach eat away a concrete foundation, the first wave doesn't do it. It takes a repetitive series of waves. Right? I've just shrunk all the capillaries in my extremities, shoving a tidal wave of ketones that oxidize into acetate and lactic acid into my neural cortex. A tidal wave creating the erosion. So I just got done hill training while under ketosis, creating lactic acid that combines with the ketones that oxidize into acetate. Now I'm going to do my cold part of my Excalibur. Right? You think about this, just like waves on a beach eroding the foundation of a building. It does nothing. The first one does nothing. But over a period of time, those repetitive waves wash away the foundation, causing erosion. Doing this repeatedly will wash away or erode the plaque and protein that lead to dementia, Alzheimer's, and neurological conditions. Right? Consistency. Practice makes perfect. Excalibur. Exercise, calisthenics, burr it's cold. Ooh, it's really cold. Right? Ketones, lactic acid, tidal waves of pressure eroding the plaque. Somebody asked me how Ernie's doing. Ernie's doing great. He's in his Primaloft Helly Hansen, alive since 1877 sleeping bag. Perfect fit I got for Ernie from Helly Hansen. Right? Here's a clue from a riddle. In 1877, a man from Norway was asked to solve the riddle of King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. And he said no, but changed his mind the very next day. Berkeley has a sundial from 1877 and a star that has 2 arms and 2 legs. If you're like King Arthur, your best friend might be lancing a lot or jumping around going in ketosis, creating ketones that oxidize into acetate that will combine with the lactic acid that when you jump across the mirror lens or Merlin into that stone cold water, it'll shrink the capillaries of your extremities and shove that beneficial cocktail into your brain. Right? Giving you Excalibur from the Lady in the Lake. Somebody asked me if I fast. I've had no breakfast this morning. I'll have no lunch, and I'm just going to have salted pork belly for dinner while I work on my Lancelot or my exercise calisthenics burr it's cold outside, creating lactic acid that will remove dead muscle fiber and inflammation from my extremities that will combine with the ketones that oxidize into acetate when you're in ketosis that I can shove into my neural cortex to remove inflammation and reverse the traumatic brain injury and damages I've sustained from repeatedly being harassed and psychologically and physically tormented and tortured by the military. You think about somebody being psychologically tormented by the military and told they have to kill their spouse, themselves, or do a mass shooting, and being able to recover from that process. Right? Excalibur. We'll see how that benefits my enunciation, my stutter, my autism, and the psychological problems I should have from being tormented by the military. Interview. People ask me to be interviewed for their podcast, YouTube channel, and morning shows all the time, and I decline. But I will accept if you can interview my neighbors Al and Jerry about how many rape situations they were known for setting up in their past to induce gaslighting and Stockholm Syndrome, to be fake heroes and gain the trust of people in the community, and how many people they think in the history of them doing that have actually taken their lives. Right? You think about men in your community that you think are honorable and trustworthy and practice integrity, setting up rape situations in the shadows that will lead people into committing suicide without the community actively being aware that those men are doing that. Right? If you want to interview me, you have to interview them first and ask how many people actually took their lives in the past before anybody realized or knew that they were doing that when I showed the world that they were doing that. And maybe interview the men in Ocean Shores about how many people they've abducted that led to suicides as well. You think about this as a member of the American military, using your American tax dollar funded paycheck to buy hookers and blow from criminal organizations that need your funds to buy bullets and bomb-making materials to kill American soldiers overseas. If you have civilian witnesses, you have to kill them. You have to reach out to people to psychologically torment them and physically torment them into taking the lives of their family, themselves, or do a mass shooting. Right? As a member of the military using hookers and blow from criminal organizations, you can't risk a court-martial and being tried for treason or using American dollars to fund terrorist organizations and criminal organizations. Therefore, you leave no civilian witnesses behind. You do whatever it takes to protect your job, right? You reach out to people like Al and Jerry, who are known to get people into killing themselves. So I was told the police are going to come to my house and speak to me about some of the things that I post. You think about a good psychological operation, utilizing the police to make the public think the things I speak about have never happened, or using them to seed the distrust in the community that witnessed all of the things happen that I say have happened, right? The community had to witness me get thrown out of my house by the military and dumped on a street in Tacoma so I could be toured around to the drug mules and sex trafficked children and be told, look what happens to the people who help you guys, right? Imagine what will happen to you and what the military will do to you if you try to escape, right? You imagine a great psychological operation is using the police department to pretend things didn't happen, to seed distrust in the community that watched it happen. This post is raw. You think about a psychological operation and how everything is chess. My wife's work today told my wife they were going to call the police to come out and check on me about the statements and things that I have said that never happened. So you think about having thousands of witnesses, women and children in my community, witness the military assault me, abduct me, take me out in Tacoma after they stomped on my kidney and tried to re-injure my aneurysm. Thousands of witnesses. And then having the police get involved to pretend those things never happened. Seeding distrust between the community and the women and children that need the trust of the police. Who wins? And what is the benefit of making sure the community witnesses the police harass somebody and pretend things didn't happen that really did happen? Who wins? The bad guys or the good guys? And what would be the point of making sure the women and children don't trust the local authority? Somebody asked me about my tattoos, why I got them. I got them by a parolee who was let out of prison to give me my tattoos so I could go to jail. I got them ahead of time to go to jail. I had a state and federal background check. And I volunteered to be hunted by the people who come to try and kill the sexually exploited women and children and drug mules that are put into certain organizations. I volunteered. Right? So remember, when you're saying things didn't happen, you're setting an example to the entire community and international community. Right? Your organization, the law, the military, or whoever you represent cannot be trusted because people witnessed what I speak about. When you say the things that I say haven't happened, and the witnesses get to witness it and witness you say it didn't happen, it makes them not have any trust in you. This is Ernie's pimp ride he uses to pick up chicks. People keep asking me why Josh Powell committed suicide and blew himself up with his 2 children. If you pay attention to the story from the very beginning, he said he was being framed to look like a bad person while being hunted and psychologically and physically tortured by members of the military. And everybody said he was insane. The military doesn't do anything like that. And then I decided to pick up his gas can and show the world, does the military actually hunt, stalk, and try to kill the people who take care of sexually exploited women and children and try to frame them for shit they never did? What do you think the international community and the local community of women and children got to see the military do? Right? They got to see Josh Powell was speaking the truth.